Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Iowa State football predictions for the 2019 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. It will be greatly appreciated if you do that. I have a goal to hit 200 subscribers by August 24th, so I would love to hit that goal. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, please. You won't regret it. Anyways, Iowa State football predictions today. Later tonight, Purdue. I meant to do these yesterday, but I substitute it with two NBA videos because we had that big breaking news story involving Kawhi Leonard and PG-13 last night, and then we also had news involving my Washington Wizards trading Dwight Howard for C.J. Miles. To Memphis. So basically, I did two quick videos about that instead. But we're going to do two videos today involving college football predictions, Iowa State now and Purdue later. So anyways, I'm going to go through the pros and cons for Iowa State, your best case and worst case scenario, your three toughest and three easiest games. Then I'm going to go through the schedule game by game, tell you which games Iowa State is going to win or lose, give you a score as well, and then I'm going to give you a final record prediction and conference record prediction. Before I continue, one other quick note. Do not hold me to the game by games. Just hold me to the record at the end. That's what I want you to hold me to. Anyways, I'm going to start off with the pros. Three pros and two cons. First pro is Matt Campbell, your head coach. Probably after Lincoln Riley, probably the second best head coach in the Big 12. I really think that Matt Campbell is a very good head coach. Several teams have offered him, more like bigger teams have offered him head coaching positions, and he declined them. But he's a very good head coach. He really has something going there at Iowa State. Iowa State, before he came in, was a team that was usually 4-8 every year. They'll beat Kansas, but that's just about it. But Matt Campbell is proving, as long as you're at a Power 5 program, you can win there, and he's doing that. So Matt Campbell is your first pro. Your second pro is your quarterback, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, excellent quarterback. He's a sophomore. I think he's probably, after Jalen Hurts, possibly the second best quarterback in the Big 12. I know some people will say Sam Ehlinger. I like Brock Purdy better personally. I really do. So Brock Purdy is your second pro. Your third pro is your defense. You're gonna have the best defense in the Big 12 this year, and it's not even gonna be close. And that's really why it's a pro, because in the Big 12 they don't play defense, but you're gonna have the best defense. It's gonna be probably somewhere in the 30s or 40s out of the 130 teams in college football. So overall, the defense is going to be really good for Iowa State. Two cons. The first one is the talent. You don't have the talent like Texas and Oklahoma does. So that's basically the only reason the talent is one of your cons. And then your second con is not really much of a con, but it's something I do want to talk about here for a quick second. If Iowa State wants to do anything, they gotta get past Oklahoma. And even if, let's say, they make the Big Ten, not the Big Ten, let's say they make the Big 12 championship. They gotta get past Oklahoma if they want to do anything. Get to a New Year's Six bowl. Get to the college football playoffs. I mean, even if they lose to Oklahoma, let's say in the Big 12 championship game, I mean, they might still get to a New Year's Six bowl, especially since if Oklahoma does get into the college football playoffs. But Iowa State, they gotta beat Oklahoma at least once if they want to do anything. So now let's go ahead and go through your best case and worst case scenario. Here's the schedule in front of you. Your best case scenario is 11-1. Your worst case scenario is 7-5. 11-1. I think you're either going to lose at Oklahoma or against Texas. I think you lose one of those two games towards the end of the season. So that's why I said 11-1. Worst case scenario is 7-5. You lose to Oklahoma and Texas, and then you have a road game against Baylor, a road game against West Virginia. Those two places, especially West Virginia, a tough place to play. Texas Tech, a tough place to play as well in Lubbock. Oklahoma State's a dark horse. Kansas State, I wouldn't rule them out either. And you get Iowa as well, and I'm kind of high on Iowa, even though if you watch my Iowa football predictions, you saw the record maybe wasn't as high as I wanted it to be. But overall, Iowa State, they could slip up in some of these games. So worst case scenario is 7-5. Your three toughest games are Oklahoma, Texas, and Iowa. Oklahoma, they went to college football playoffs for the past 2 years. They're expected to return to the college football playoffs again this season. So that's a tough game. Texas, yes, my Terps did beat them, but they are the second. They are basically penciled in as the second best team in the Big 12. So Texas, to me, that's a tough game for you all, especially after Oklahoma. You get Oklahoma and Texas back to back. That's rough. And then Iowa is an in-state rivalry game. You do get them at home. You do have trouble beating them though. I thought last year you guys were going to beat them, but you guys came up a bit short. But Iowa is your third toughest game. Your three easiest games are Northern Iowa, Louisiana Monroe, and Kansas. So Northern Iowa FCS opponent. Not much debate there. Louisiana Monroe, Sunbelt team, won the bottom half of the Sunbelt teams actually, so not really much of a debate there. And then Kansas, the worst team in the Big 12. I know they have Les Miles, but I think it's going to be a while. So now let's go through the schedule. I'll go game by game, tell you the scores of each game here, and give you your final record prediction, conference record prediction, and we'll get on out here. Northern Iowa, that will be a win. FCS opponent, week 1. It should be an easy win. I have it 45-3, Iowa State. Then you get your first bye week out, 2 bye weeks. Every team gets 2 bye weeks because of how the calendar aligns with the schedule. And then coming off the bye week, you get Iowa. Iowa, as I said, a team you have trouble beating over the past few years. I'm pretty high on Iowa, but I do think their schedule is kind of tough, and I think their first really tough game is this one. And if you watch my Iowa football prediction video, which, by the way, go check it out on the McD Sports 4 YouTube channel, you know who I already have in this game. And I have Iowa State pulling off the win here, 21-17 over Iowa. I think Iowa State finally breaks through and beats Iowa. Next game, Louisiana Monroe. This will be a win, as I basically told you earlier in the video. 42-7, as I said, Louisiana Monroe, one of the bottom half teams in the Sun Belt. Iowa State, one of the top tier teams in the Big 12. Next game at Baylor. This is an interesting game. Baylor is a team that people are saying that they're a big-time dark horse because they get Oklahoma and Texas both at home. Kind of like what people are saying about Stanford and the Pac-12 North, since they get Oregon and Washington at home. Baylor is a team that I think could pull off an upset or two. They also get Iowa State at home as well, because Iowa State, this is a road game for them. So I understand why people are high on Baylor, but and I understand why. I do have Baylor winning this game, 35-31. I don't think Baylor's the better team per se, but I think Baylor, the game being in Baylor, and Baylor, they're getting pretty hyped up this year. I think they are going to have a big win this year, Baylor. I do think this is going to be the game for Baylor for their big win. So I have Baylor winning 35-31. Next game, TCU at home. TCU is a team. They're basically going to be around 7-5. They're going to be one of the better teams in the Big 12. I do think Iowa State is going to bounce back after the loss to Baylor. And I do have Iowa State winning this game 28-21. It'll be a bit low scoring because TCU is going to field a pretty good defense as well. Probably your second best defense in the Big 12. But I think Iowa State, the game being in Ames, I'm going to go with Iowa State 28-21. Next game is at West Virginia, a team that is losing a lot. A new head coach in Neil Brown. I do believe in Neil Brown, but I think it might take a year or two. West Virginia is a team that they're going to put up a lot of points again this year, it looks like. The game is in Morgantown, a very tough place to play. But I do think Iowa State, they do go in there and get the win. I know West Virginia is going to be looking for revenge after last year's embarrassment in Ames, but I have Iowa State winning this game. I have it 48-42 Iowa State. I think it'll be a shootout, but Iowa State will come on top. Next game at Texas Tech. Texas Tech, another tough place to play in Lubbock, Texas. Texas Tech is going to be in the bottom half of the Big 12. They're expected to field a pretty good offense, though. But I am very concerned about the defense, as I usually am every year of Texas Tech. And I think Iowa State takes advantage of that. I think Brock Purdy has a very good game in this one. And I think Iowa State wins this game. I have a 52-42 Iowa State. Texas Tech will put up points against them, but it won't be enough. Next game is Oklahoma State. This is your homecoming game for Iowa State for the Cyclones. Oklahoma State, a team that I think could be a dark horse this year in the Big 12. I definitely think they can maybe break through. I never doubt Mike Gundy. The game is in Ames, though. It's homecoming. I'm going for Iowa State. 49-37. I think this will be a shootout, but Iowa State pulls away late. Actually not next game. You get your second bye week, and then your next game is Oklahoma on the road. If you watch my Oklahoma football predictions, you already know who I have in this one. Oklahoma to me is a better team than Iowa State. Last time Iowa State was down there, you did beat them, but I don't think it happens this year. Personally, that Oklahoma team that well, I can't say that because they made the playoffs as well. But overall, I do think Iowa State is the weaker out of the two, and that's why I'm going to pick Oklahoma to win 31-23. I think it's a bit low scoring. I think the Iowa State defense keeps us really close, but at the end, Oklahoma breaks through late. Next game, Texas at home. If you already saw my Texas football prediction video, you already know who I have in this game. Texas, I think, is very overrated. I personally think that Texas is a team. I think the quarterback is overrated. I think the head coach is overrated. And yes, I know I'm a Terps fan, but that team is overrated. They let West Virginia go in there and beat them. They've lost to Oklahoma State. They're not back, is what I'm trying to say. Texas is not back. I think Iowa State beats them. I have it 32-28. Texas is going to have one of the better defenses in the Big 12. Probably your third best defense in the Big 12. So the game's going to be a bit on the low scoring side. It could turn out into a shootout, but I'm going to pick Iowa State at home against Texas in Ames, Iowa. Next game is Kansas at home. This is going to be a win. Yes, I know they have Les Miles, but Les Miles is going to need 4 or 5. It's going to need at least 3, 4, 5 years maybe to fix Kansas. And I think Iowa State wins this game very easily. I think it's a blowout, 56-13 Iowa State. Then your last game at Kansas State, a bit of a trap game here because Iowa State. The game's on the road for them. Kansas State, I do think is going to start out slow, but they could pick it up late. I do think they're going to be one of the, at least in the bottom half of the Big 12. Kansas State is a team that you have a first-year head coach. I went with Iowa State on the road, 41-34. I'm not. If this come back to me though when this game is in week 12 or week 13 or week 14 rather, since there's 2 byes in week 14, because Kansas State could be a bit better than I think they're going to be. Personally, I think Kansas State is going to be maybe a 6-6 team, but overall, I do think Iowa State's the better team, obviously, and I have them winning 41-34. So if you count up the wins and losses that I have here, I have Iowa State going 10-2 with a 7-2 conference record. 10-2 with a 7-2 conference record. If you watch my Texas football predictions, you see that I actually have Iowa State ahead of Texas, which means I have Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game. Now, I'm not going to give my pick for the Big 12 championship game, and by the way, the game is against Oklahoma for Iowa State. But overall, this is going to be a pretty successful season, in my opinion, for Iowa State. I really think Matt Campbell has something going there for the Cyclones. And overall, I can't wait to watch them. So I have them going 10-2 with a 7-2 conference record. Comment down below. Tell me what you think about my predictions. I always like hearing from y'all. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And please subscribe to the channel. It will be greatly appreciated if you do that, and you won't regret it. Purdue later today. Thanks for watching again, and this is McD the Beast signing off.